Hey, I need to sleep. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm actually going to do two album reviews because one is not enough. Gotta do two, you know? Today I'm going to first talk about the latest Machine Gun Kelly album, Tickets to My Downfall. And Machine Gun Kelly is a rapper, pop rapper, and the greatest breakout of his popularity in the last few years is his beef with Eminem, which he very tragically and dramatically lost to Eminem because Eminem's diss track to Machine Gun Kelly is freaking fire, and I think a lot of people can agree with that. But anyways, Machine Gun Kelly, he's strong. After being insulted this bad by Eminem, he still has the will to continue in the game, but not as a rapper, but as a pop punk singer. That is why in Tickets to My Downfall, he essentially made a pop punk album. Pop punk. And I'm gonna be honest here, this is some of the most generic and basic pop punk I've heard in a long time. Oh my gosh, the production of this album, not only is it very basic and bland, but also very heavily compressed, not organic at all, very mushy. There are even a few points on the album where Machine Gun Kelly is like, you know what? I know it's a pop punk album, but hey, gotta put a bit of a trap beat in it. Like what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop ruining other genres with a trap beat. Fortunately, he doesn't really do that all that often on this album, unlike Sam Smith on his country album. But still, it's a very weird production choice. Another thing about this album is his vocals. It's not good. He just can't sing well. As a pop punk singer, he just can't sing well. He doesn't provide the energy, the excitement, the liveliness that I always want to hear in a pop punk album. I mean, for reference, look at Jeff Rosenstock. He screams and shouts his ass off on every single track. And I'm not saying that you need to scream and shout your ass off to be good in a pop punk song, but at least what Jeff Rosenstock did is to provide life and energy and emotions and power into the music, and it works really, really well because it makes the instrumentals pop up even more and everything comes together in a very sharp way. It's actually memorable. But on Tickets to My Downfall, it's exactly the opposite. Machine Gun Kelly's vocals, it's just I saw the message, I found the cancer, and it's just like that for the entire freaking album. Which moves over to my next point is that the verses and the choruses, they are basic, kind of bland, and the angstiness is unjustified. It really is unjustified, and a lot of pop punk albums sort of justify their angstiness and their nihilism with a bit of self-awareness and comedic sense, like on the Remo Drive album Greatest Hits, which I personally think is a super duper underrated album. Yes, very angsty, very emo, but also kind of funny because they're kind of self-aware, and it makes the album so much more enjoyable and relatable. But on this album, it's just angstiness, period. Nothing else. Nothing else. Yeah, this album. This album sounds like a friggin' Disney XD original movie soundtrack. It just sounds like the kind of album, the kind of soundtrack that like a Disney high school rock band would play, like a bit of an emo rock band, like, huh, the society doesn't own us. Let's play some rock music. This is the kind of album that we're going into when we go into this album. Also, some people say that this album is nostalgic, brings back the 2000s vibes, and I do love a good nostalgic album. But this album isn't nostalgic for me, anyways. I mean, for reference, The Weekend with After Hours, though not a perfect album, the way it sort of throws back to the 80s, but sort of reinvented a little bit with more updated production, updated sounds, and updated lyrics, and with catchy and memorable hooks and verses. It works really well. But what MGK did is that he went back in time and made pop punk again, but in the blandest and the most basic way possible. So I'm gonna go over a few tracks, even though a lot of the tracks sound pretty similar. The track Kiss Kiss sounds like a 2000s Disney soundtrack. The track Lonely is supposedly about loneliness, but the lyrics doesn't really explore that all that well. Like in the first verse, one day my dad saw me dancing with the devil and we didn't talk much since. What are you... It's a cool thing that MGK's dad made a little appearance at the end of that track, to pay an homage to his family. I really like that, but still, lyrically, it doesn't work. The track World War III is so noisy and so fast, but the verses and the choruses are not memorable, not one bit, and it's totally unjustified. We have My Ex's Best Friend featuring Black Bear, our friend Black Bear is back. And this track is actually more like just a regular pop song with a bit of a rock edge to it, and it sounds really basic. The album ends off with Play This When I'm Gone, which is this faux sad, faux deep, personal ending kind of album ending, and it just doesn't work at all because it just sounds like it's been done for thousands of times already. We have Bloody Valentine with Megan Fox in the music video. Not really the entire internet, but a portion of the internet was like, whoa, he's with Megan Fox. I couldn't care less, actually. And the track Bloody Valentine is actually really basic and redundant, and there is not a single redeeming quality of this track that I can compliment it for. The only track that I actually low-key enjoyed is Forget Me Too featuring Halsey. It's another fast-paced, high-energy pop-punk track, but instead this one is so much more fun mainly because of Halsey, really, because Halsey's feature on this track is really fun, loud, bold, unapologetic, and wild, and that element gave the track a bit of excitement and energy, which is something that I always look forward to when I go into a pop punk album. Again, for reference, go listen to the latest Punm album. Go listen to the Punm album that's released last year. That album is so fun, so vibrant, so energetic. It's all over the place. The choruses and verses are super duper catchy. There are detours and passageways. There's an attitude in the album. It's all I ask for when I go into a pop punk album. But what MGK did on this album is, yeah. Feeling my favorite track here is Forget Me Too, I guess, and my least favorite is World War III. I just see no reason in making the track so fast and loud. I'm giving this album a strong 3 out of 10. Next album I'm going to be talking about is the latest Lil Tecca album, Virgo World. Lil Tecca is another not really mumble, but definitely trap rapper. Another one of those, He has a nasal, smooth voice, which is pretty nice. But the problem with this album is that it's another boring, generic trap rap album. As if this year already doesn't have enough boring, generic trap rap albums. I mean, we already have the Nav double album, which is incredibly boring. We have the Future album, we have the Drake album, we have the Joyner Lucas album, we have the friggin' Lil Baby album, and then now we have this one. They just don't stop coming. Yeah, this album is 19 tracks long. 19 tracks of boring, generic trap rap. If I can compliment this album, it's not as boring as I thought it would be. At least it's not as boring as the Nav albums, because there are tracks on this album that play a little more danceable in the beats and instrumental side, and I do appreciate that. But still, at the end of the day, there's nothing special about this album. Everything about it just feels really basic, repetitive, redundant, and just watered down, really. We have the track When You Down featuring Lil Durk and Polo G, and it sounds like a freaking mess. Like, what's going on? Why are they singing on top of one another? And it's not like they're creating a harmony or anything, they're just singing on top of one another for no reason. We have the tracks Chemistry and Insecurities, where they do a bit of a Latin flavored beat, and we've heard Latin trap rap for 12 years already. It feels like it's been 12 years since the first Latin flavored trap rap song had come out. You don't have to do it anymore. We have the track Foreign featuring Nav, two boring rappers. Let's go. At least Nav on this track sounds like he has a style, which is really, really concerning. The track TikTok is insanely terrible. The verses are lazy, and the auto-tune harmony is just a freaking mess, like on the track When You Down. The vocals are layered in a way not like they create a harmony or whatsoever. They're just layered up, stacked together, super dense and thick, for no reason whatsoever. It's a freaking mess. We have Closest to Heaven, which is a really dry song, and also Level Up, which is also a really dry and bland song. The track True to the Game has these weird string samples that sort of pop up occasionally, and there's that, doesn't do anything else. And we have Last Call, which is the emotional track of the album. I don't know how many rappers had made a track called Last Call, but I feel like he's not the first one to make a track called Last Call and be emotional on it. There are a few moments on the album that I actually think has potential, like Selection, which has a glitzy beat, but sonically it's still a friggin' mess. Same goes for the track Royal Rumble, which has a nice clubby, glitchy beat, but Tecca totally disappears into the instrumentals. The track Take 10 has some sensual melodies, even though the vocals are really meh, but I like the vocal melodies. The track Back It Up has some fast flows, which is nice, even though the beat is generic AF, and Miss Me is easily my favorite track on the entire album. This track is legitimately catchy, it's endearing, it's lovely, I like the groovy beat, I like the sunny synths, I like this track a whole lot. But that's the only track on the entire album that I enjoyed. Every single other track is just kind of boring. So boring album, boring album, boring album. Nothing else. My favorite track here is Miss Me, and my least favorite track is TikTok. I'm giving Lil Tecca's Virgo World a decent 3 out of 10. So, if you're listening to the latest Lil Tecca and MGK albums from 1 to 10, how much did you rate them? Like if you like them, hate if you hate them, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. Also remember that these are only my opinions. Okay? Music is subjective. I'm going to do a review on the latest Deftones album tomorrow, so you have that to look forward to. I may or may not review the latest Sufjan Stevens. I'm going to review the latest Clipping. I may or may not review the latest Neil Cicierega. Yeah, look forward to my movie reviews as well.